Just. Do you want?
Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Morning, everyone.
Perfect, thank you.
Morning.
Wednesday, August 20th. It is now 10:05. This is the meeting of the Town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency, the Governance Committee. Following members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Valley, Trotter, Mr. Rose, Mr. Braun. Quorum is present, and via Zoom, Mr. Grucci. Lisa?
Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the minutes from July 16th, 2025. We have a
So
motion.
move. Second.
Are there any corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, I just made it the uniform tax exemption policy, but really we have a couple of pieces of that to discuss. So let me start out by saying, I have been reading and rereading our UTEP, and I have a lot of notes and questions and things. I'm not going through this minutia with you guys. It's things like, should the administrative fee, should that be an annual administrative fee? How come we have a dash here? We don't have a dash someplace else. All kinds of stuff. We missed the word is in a sentence. So but the substance that I want to discuss with you is, I think, three main pieces. The first piece is housing. I don't think that's going to come as a surprise to anybody that I want to talk to you about housing. So this is, obviously, we had the housing studies done, and I think they were very helpful to bring everything into one place and really make it easy for us to think through what it is we do and could and should be doing. So what I am suggesting is that we change our UTEP so we have a standard for all market rate housing that includes senior. And that, I think that should exclude assisted livings, and that does exclude true affordable projects.
You mean 100% affordable project?
Well, yes, but something that has 4% tax credits, 9% tax
Okay,
credits, a regulatory agreement, which we do have defined in our UTEP. Okay, so what I suggest is that as we have now, we keep with the 7-year standard for our pilots for market rate housing. And let me just say, one of the things that I keep seeing in everything that is brought forward is that seniors are a particularly vulnerable is probably not the right word, but a particularly impacted group. So I feel like senior housing should get included in this. So a 7-year standard for our pilots. Keep the option to increase the pilot. Currently, it goes from a 7-year to a 10 to 12-year pilot. So it's a 3 to 5 year increase in the pilot. If your project is, we have a whole list of things. If it's in a community development block grant area, an opportunity zone, a revitalization area, a transit-oriented development, a highly distressed area, downtown, there's a whole long list of them. So I suggest that we keep that so that you can get what we refer to as an enhanced pilot if you meet one of those criteria. And then what I think we should do is change. Maybe we should drop affordable and workforce, just because I think it might be causing a little bit of confusion. But change our requirements of what the project has to give to us to 5% of the units have to be set aside at 50% of the AMI, which is, and 5% have to be set aside at 65% of the AMI, which is basically what which is exactly what the town is doing now. So the projects that come to us are already doing that through the town. The only time that this would really be a change is if you were locating in a village, because my experience is that the villages don't have a requirement for affordable or workforce or any enhancements. So And by getting your permits through the town, your approvals through the town, you're already agreeing to 5% at 50% and 5% at 65%. So it just sort of aligns what we're doing with what the town has been doing. And then we would require, I'm suggesting we require 10% at 80%, 10% of the units at 80% of the AMI. If the project needs additional years of pilot, we can add additional, let's say 10% at 80% of the AMI. Because the study showed that if they need a longer pilot, they can absorb the additional units at 80%. So if you remember, the study looked at what if we went to 90% of the AMI, what if we dropped to 7? They looked at a bunch of different things, and they found that projects can absorb an additional 10% of the units at 80% of the AMI. So that's kind of what I suggest we update our UTEP as far as housing is concerned too. I have a couple of questions, though, a couple of things that I obviously want to hear if you think this is a good plan, but would we cap the number of years? So if the project came to us and said, we're in a downtown, so we're eligible for the 10 to 12 years of pilot, but we need more, would we cap how many more they could get, or will we leave it to, you can ask for additional, you can say we need 20. And when we have the study done, the study will determine where it actually falls.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
I leave it
Okay,
Then
so
I
more open, yeah.
open-ended, and then we can take it on a case by
Yeah.
case. and look
But
at
I
it.
would, if we're gonna do that, and I don't have a problem with doing that, we should say that in the UTEP.
Okay,
We should not just assume
Yeah,
they know
good
what
point.
we're gonna do.
No,
We should delineate, here are the criteria, and one of them would be the Camoin study saying whatever the Camoin study is gonna say. We should say that, so somebody knows
Yep.
that before they come in.
Yeah, good point.
So
and
this way up front, they know what's going
Right.
on.
we
So that we
do,
don't, oh, you didn't tell me this.
Correct, oh, yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That's what you want to avoid.
okay. So I just said, if they need additional years based on the results of a Camoin study, the Camoin pilot study, we can judge it from there. Okay. What do you guys think about that general
Before we do
concept?
that, just outline what the process is going forward. If we agree here, in terms of public hearing, notifications, and action.
A lot of stuff to
Tax
do.
jurisdiction.
Okay, so the next step would be I have to type up all my little crazy edits and questions and send them around to all the council, and I can send it to you guys too, or we could wait and give you guys a red line after we go through all the minutia of it. Go through all the minutia of it, decide, yes, the word is should be there, we should adjust this to make it clear, whatever it is. Then we have to hold a public hearing, which means that we have to send certified mail to all of the impacted taxing jurisdictions, which is, I want to say there's 20 school districts in the town, the county, the villages, the town. So those are the impacted taxing jurisdictions. We have to, there's a period of time that you have to have everything on the website waiting, we have to mail them everything or tell them in the letter, go to the website to see our old UTEP and our proposed new UTEP. And then we hold a public hearing, we get comments, which I feel confident that we will get comments. The comments come back to you guys. We discuss them, edit the UTEP as you guys feel appropriate from the comments that we received, and then you vote on it and it gets adopted, and then it becomes our new document.
question.
Lisa, I'm sorry, go ahead, Frank.
You mentioned at the beginning, senior housing, yeah. So how do we get more affordable housing? One of the, we see a lot of projects come before us, related to senior housing as you refer to it. But a lot of them are very unaffordable for part of the population. While I know a percentage of the units are affordable housing, that percentage is relatively low in comparison to the need. In relation to what we're giving them, could we look at how we could be more effective?
Are you asking how we get more affordable senior housing specifically, or just
Well,
affordable?
Affordable in general, but seniors in particular.
Well, I agree, which is why I wanted to make sure that we're very clear in our UTEP that senior housing. Well, so here's a couple of things. Our current UTEP, this for senior housing, right now we give them a 10 to 15-year pilot, which is more aggressive than we gave with market rate. I suggested that we standardize it all, but that is one way to incentivize people to build senior. And we could say, we're gonna incentivize you guys, developers, to build senior, but in exchange, we want a greater percentage.
Correct. That's where it
be
was,
affordable.
exactly.
So, I mean, we could say senior, our starting point is a 10 to 15-year pilot, but we expect 5% at 50, 5% at 65, 20% at 80. But I don't know, like, we didn't really study that, so I don't know if that's going to push the it could push in the wrong direction, where people go, I can't, you're breaking us with these requirements. So that's why I thought if we, because.
Is there a way to keep it more open, but at a higher, that we can encourage a higher number that we could react to, as opposed to, locking them in?
Well, the only way you're gonna get a higher number, right, is to give them more years.
Right, so you're gonna give them more
gotta give-
years,
you
but
gotta
she's
give
saying, if
something.
you give them more years,
Right.
maybe we're gonna be asking for too much. Is that correct, what you were saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, can you keep it more open where we'll give you more years and you make a proposal to us with regard to what that percentage would be?
Well, right.
And then we could react to that, that, as opposed to locking them into a number that may be unrealistic, unless we don't have time to study it any longer, but,
Aren't we doing that now with,
That is kind of what my proposal
Right.
does.
To some
Okay.
degree.
we're doing it,
Yeah.
yeah,
To some
they
degree.
come back to us and they're gonna ask, we could use more, and we'd be able to give them more.
You could say, if they need additional years, we can add an additional
Yeah.
10% at or starting with, a week or more, 10% or more
yeah, up
at
to,
80%.
yeah, or would, yes.
And then have a little bit of flexibility, have Camoin come back to us and say, this is the tipping, this is where it's not gonna work for them,
Right,
but
right,
go
right.
back 1%
Yeah.
and it will work.
Yeah, that would be good.
But
And I don't know if you can, put a sentence in there that, relates to or encouraging, them to increase their
Well, you
number
could,
for
you
senior,
could, right, Frank, you could put a sentence in that says the IDA reserves the right to provide additional incentives for additional
In
affordable
exchange for-
units.
In
in
ex-
certain-
right, that's
in certain
exactly-
circumstances, and that gives you flexibility.
That's what I want,
So
yeah.
that you're not tied.
So the board is
directly-
making a decision
Right.
based on the proposal as
Right.
opposed to being locked in.
Right,
are you suggesting this just for senior or for all market rate?
I think it would be all.
Oh, yeah, I would say
Okay,
it
I'm
should
good
be
with
for
that.
all, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lisa?
Felix?
Yeah, just so I understand clearly, what we're doing here today is deciding what to put out there for public comment, or are we deciding on what the UTAP is gonna say?
Well,
Well,
a proposal that'll go out for public comment and probably. But then we see what the comment is. If somebody might come back with something that we go, oh, I didn't.
We didn't think of
We
that.
should,
right.
yeah, incorporate that.
That's why that's the heart of my question. We're gonna have a second bite at this after the comments come back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would suggest that we, from a transparency perspective, not limit our publication just to municipalities. I would suggest that we include stakeholders in so that they see the proposal also and can comment appropriately or
So-
depending upon their point of view.
Talk about developers.
Well, the development community, CDC,
Attorneys.
attorneys.
I
From
told
my
you,
perspective, the more comments, the better.
I told you what the law requires.
Right.
So Fred asked the process and I just thought about what we have to
Right.
do. We posted on our website, which is not, the law doesn't require that, but we feel like that's a place that's easy to find, and it also has to go into Newsday, so
Right.
it's required to be,
But I don't see any harm in sending a letter to 15 organizations saying, by the way, we just want you to know that possible revisions to our UTEP are on the website and a public hearing will be held on whatever date the public hearing will be held on. For me, that's great transparency. We may get no comments, but at least then somebody can say, we can say, we sent you a letter, or we may get lots of comments.
And maybe we forgot something completely.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Listen, from my
Can't hurt.
perspective, the more comments we get, the better, because that means people take it seriously.
Right. Ultimately, we're gonna make the decision
Right.
and maybe we'll learn something we didn't know.
You never know.
just so you guys.
I
know,
like that approach. I think, I agree with Mitch that we should broaden our reach and certainly reach those who are responsible for building these units to get their feedback.
We can do a blast, but just so you're aware, since I have been here, we updated our UTEP in 2012, 2014, 2017, and 2020.
Right.
We've always only sent it to what the law requires. Somehow attorneys and local organizations always find out and send comments. I'm teasing,
I
I can
get
send it,
I get
but
it,
I don't
but I
think,
think from our,
it's
from
nice.
our credibility, we
Yeah,
should be the one letting them
can't
know,
hurt.
not assume they're gonna find out from somebody else. That way they know we care. We may disagree,
Right,
but at least they know we can't, we tried.
Right.
There's one other piece that's tied to that, to this, and that is the Lemoyne study.
Right,
When do we release that?
well, I mean, Lisa and I had a
Middle country.
interesting email conversation about that.
oh, like 3 in the morning, you're emailing.
Well, it was 3 in the morning where I was, well, it wasn't 3 in the morning where I was, it might have been 3 in the morning where you were.
What's going on? And then you said you were out of town, so I.
Out of town, 5-hour difference, what can I tell you? But
Working on
I think
vacation.
the Camoin study, I think they did an excellent job.
We'll discuss
Okay,
that just-
excellent job, we should be very proud
of
of financing it. I think the more
Yeah.
publicity we get about it, the better it is for us. In addition to those who have to read it, okay, and understand it, I think it shows the Long Island community, hey, Brookhaven IDA cared enough about this issue to put this entire report together, and here's how comprehensive it was. If it was a schlock, I wouldn't say that, but it's not a schlock, it's really good, I enjoyed reading it twice. I just think the more we get it out, the better it is.
Question is timing with regard to the UTEP.
What if we post it with, when we have the UTEP organized on our website, and then when we send the invite,
Put it in the
it'll all
letter.
be right there for
Right.
everybody to look
I
at
think-
the whole.
And I think we
package
should
of
tell them in the letter. We've done this study, it's
Yeah.
also on our website, you
Review
can look at both at the same time.
Okay.
I think that's perfectly appropriate, but I think we should use it to, I don't wanna say to our advantage, to our benefit. It's good,
It is good.
yeah.
Any other thoughts on this?
And
Pose?
if you have any afterthoughts, let Lisa know
Yeah,
as she
definitely.
goes through to make these corrections.
I'm gonna be working on this for a little while.
Yeah, I would think
All
so.
my notes are.
But I think at least.
So what's the
Can you get
schedule
it
for
all-
getting it out for public comment?
Yeah, I feel it.
I have to, get all my edits into a document, share it with council. Council has to come back. We have to work through it. And then we have to post it in Newsday, and it's a 10-day post period. So with Newsday, it's about 2 weeks out, the way it works. So, it's gonna be at least a month, I would say.
So we're looking more towards the end of September for the public hearing?
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm not criticizing, I'm just asking. I'm
No,
just trying to get an understanding of the timing.
And we need to get it right.
We
yeah.
didn't get it right.
And then it'll be, hope to have it to you guys for a vote at our October meeting. I think that that's,
Fine.
reasonable. What were you gonna say, Mensch?
I lost my train of thought.
They're definitely apartments. Yeah. Oh,
I'll think about it.
Did they
I'll,
have so
I'll
many
remember
different
myself.
names?
When I do.
Okay, so that's what I'm suggesting that we do with housing. If you have any thoughts later on, let me know.
Oh,
Or-
I know what,
Go ahead.
when you get it all together. Can you send it out to all the IDA doing members so we can take, so we can look at it completely?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it in a Word document with red lines and
Fine.
a lot of comments on the side.
Fine, okay.
Cause I have like, kind of like questions like, what does this sentence mean?
Right, right.
Those are good ones. Okay,
It-
so
it-
that's,
It meant something at some point. Right.
yeah,
Right.
but you know, when you read it so many times, and you're like, I don't know what we meant by that. Okay, so thank you, everybody, because this has been a little bit of work.
A little?
The next item that I just want to bring up in the UTEP, Anne Marie sent me a packet of information last night, which I looked at quickly. And it was too late to share with everybody. Anne Marie is concerned about living wage, sorry, so now we're moving off of housing and we're going into businesses that we support. So Anne Marie is concerned about living wage and how our projects pay their employees. And she put together a memo and all sorts of supporting documents. And one of the things in the supporting documents shows again that seniors are constrained financially. So kind of reiterated what we were just discussing. But so she's concerned with, let's say, a living wage. Right now, our UTEP says generally, new jobs created or existing jobs retained by the project should have projected average annual salaries in line with the median per capita income level on Long Island at the time of application. Projects with low employment numbers may receive reduced benefits. And further, labor-intensive industries are viewed favorably. She's concerned that, and from what she sent, my understanding is that she's concerned that we're giving benefits to projects and they are not paying what she referred to as a household survival wage or a living wage. Now, I think that our statement right here probably covers what she's concerned about. I mean, we could add to it, you know, that projects with highly compensated employees will be viewed favorably. And we could say that projects should have projected average annual salaries in line with the median per capita income level on Long Island, or you know, should be above the ALICE level, which is the assessed limited income constrained employed. So it's a looks at that.
What do we have on the applications? Do we ask them the wages?
Yes.
We do, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do,
sorry.
how do those standards, as enunciated in our current UTEP, meet the same, do they meet the same standard as the Suffolk County Living Wage Act? Because if you look at Suffolk County RFPs, right in there is a whole thing about living wage. But I don't know whether what they classify as living wage and what we classify as living wage are the same or not the same.
Well,
I know the answer.
I don't either, but we said in line with the median per capita income levels on Long Island. So
How do you
And what
determine
is that?
that?
yeah, there's probably, well, and that's, I was like, well, it says in here that they should be, but we've never checked to see if they were. I mean, everybody has to pay minimum wage, but that's not necessarily,
That's not that.
no.
But my point is, assuming for the moment, I'm a company and I wanna pay that amount.
Where do you?
What is that amount?
Right,
Yeah.
how do you
And
determine?
how do you find it?
Right,
It's not like, it's not
Okay.
like the housing one where they send out
Yeah.
we all get it. How do we
Aren't
find out
there-
what that is?
mean,
Aren't there safeguards already in place for that? Aren't projects required to pay prevailing wage? And
No.
why not let the marketplace dictate what the current rate would be for a particular skill level? I mean,
I think-
why would we want to now take on the responsibility of telling a business what you have to pay your employees? I think that's, I don't particularly think that's a good place for us to be.
The other thing to consider is maybe somebody needs a part-time job with something that they can slip in, do the job, make a little bit of money, because I only need this money to pay for accessories because my kids want to be on a travel team or whatever the thing is. My income is not to support my whole family, not to pay our mortgage, not to make sure we have food and shoes, but to do extras. And I don't want something that's going to have, extra. I want to show up, do my job and get out. And I'm good with that, having it fall within a certain, I think you need different jobs and different realities for different people. So
but the
I-
question is what we have written in there is hard to quantify,
well, this should have.
right?
What are the other
But
ideas?
I don't know what else we
My
could.
concern is
What-
if we
The other ideas
we
saying,
start to go
same-
down a very slippery
Yeah,
slope.
no, I don't disagree,
We're trying
But
to
dictate to what,
tie benefits to wages.
right,
yeah.
I think it's a
And
dangerous.
monitor
right, but I'm trying to
very dangerous
determine
path.
the sentence that we do have in there. If we should continue to have that in there, or should we have a different one? That's really what I'm saying,
Well,
but I don't disagree, Fred.
okay, so
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think.
I agree. I think it's very dangerous to start dictating what people have to pay their employees.
okay, I'm gonna just put a note with a question mark.
Maybe there's a better way to say it.
I just wrote restate.
Yeah.
So we'll work on it, but and that's,
Why not just take it out completely? Why do we need something in there that directs people on how to pay their employees?
Well, we do ask, as Lori just said to me, we do ask in the application what they expect the average wages to be for that number of employees.
Yeah.
That's fine. Asking them what they're prepared to pay is different than telling them what they have to pay.
I would agree, yeah.
okay, so we could restate or remove.
I can't figure it out.
I mean, and we could leave it to say projects with low employment numbers may receive reduced benefits. Labor intensive and highly compensated industries are viewed favorably, and kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, if we want to incentivize the developer or a project to move forward. And we can do that by indicating that there's more benefits if if there is a better pay scale. I mean, when we start tying it, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here, but when we try to tie it into a livable wage, now we got to define what a livable wage is. I mean, for me, a livable wage would be different than a livable wage for anybody, different than me. So I think we should stay away from that kind of language, and if the board thinks that it needs to incentivize to raise the salary levels, then let's find a mechanism to do that other than to dictate to them what they have to pay.
Is it worth, Felix, giving your companies an incentive such as we will give you additional years if you reach certain salary standards? And then give them that choice?
The issue with that is then we're monitoring it and
Right.
we're us.
Right.
Sorry.
The more we discuss this, the deeper we get into the slippery slope. I mean, to me, I would just let the market dictate what the prices are. I mean, I'm not gonna go to work for somebody for $15 an hour if I can go to the next guy that's gonna build the same kind of a project for $30 an hour. So that automatically is gonna raise the 15 to the $30 an hour. I mean, the marketplace has always done right by this country, and then I think it'll do right by us as well.
Let's move it along. I agree.
Any other
Move it along.
thoughts?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
I do, okay, so that's what I think we should be doing in our UTEP.
Good.
Obviously, there's a lot of other little minutia, but the other piece that we have to discuss is spec warehouse. And first I thought it should be in our UTEP, but as I think about it, I don't think we should incorporate it into our UTEP. Right now, the only reference, it says industrial manufacturing, research and development, commercial warehousing, distribution facilities, retail, subject to retail restrictions and corporate office facilities are all eligible for the standard exemption. Then it says speculative office projects may be eligible for the standard exemption if they are projected to provide economic benefits in terms of jobs, involve significant capital investment in the town, repurpose existing vacant or nearly vacant buildings, or will stimulate the local economy. I wonder if we should just lose the word office from that statement and just make it speculative projects and leave it sort of open-ended in whether we will or will not support speculative projects in general.
I think that's. a good
Yep,
thought.
that's fine.
Well, I have no problem with that at all. I guess the question is, what criteria are we gonna use to do that with? I have no problem in changing the wording to make that applicable. We need to show somebody, here's what you need to get whatever it is you wanna get.
That's where my next piece of this comes in. So
Okay.
we've had a lot of discussions. We've had a lot of people have put in proposed concepts. So we've been thinking about this a lot. We have three general concepts. Andrew sent us a list of factors to be used for developing a speculative warehouse evaluation policy. So, all sorts of things that if we wanted to dive into this, like brainstorming ideas. We also received two sort of pilot ideas, I guess. One is that the project basically will pay, they all pay effectively land only while they're being constructed. But then the idea was that the project would pay full taxation until they get a subtenant in there. And then it'll drop down to whatever a predetermined pilot would be. So in this idea, I think what happens is that the taxing jurisdictions get like a yo-yo effect. So they're not getting very much, then they get a hit because it goes to full taxation. And then, they get a subtenant and it drops back down. So I think that's a fiscal cliff for them and a budgeting problem for them.
Plus, it doesn't prevent an empty warehouse.
Yes. The other idea is to provide a pilot and say, if there's no subtenant secured after, I don't know, let's say year 4, 2 years of construction, 1 year it increases, I'm making this up, but 10%, year 2 it increases to 20% of full taxation. If at the end of that 4th year, you don't have a subtenant, then you go to full taxation. But we have the same problem that Fred just said. We have yet another large empty warehouse. And then they don't even have a pilot, so it's going to be even harder for them to get an end user. I struggle to figure out a way to incentivize them if there isn't an end user locked in. We had a conversation with a project recently, and that their argument was, well, we need the pilot to incentivize the end user. And my concern with that is that we have 5 spec warehouse buildings that are predominantly empty. One of them has a subtenant that hasn't gone in yet, but is trying to get in there in a piece of it. But there's still 75,000 square feet of that facility vacant. And there seems to be no real interest. I'm sure they have people who are interested, but there isn't like a groundswell of people. So my concern is that if we incentivize more, we're gonna end up with more large empty buildings.
I think one of our neighboring IDAs just approved the project where it would be
Yeah.
a full
Abatement.
assessed
Oh.
tax now under a pilot, and then when they got a tenant, it would drop down, so the school districts would lose out on that
They
money.
do the opposite way. The article is in the package, but they did one of these two.
Right, That's what I read.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Is
Like,
that nice though?
yes,
yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Doesn't prevent an empty warehouse.
Well, I guess the question is, you know, nothing, the only thing that prevents an empty warehouse is not building them. That's the end result,
Or you had a
Because-
tenant.
or you have a tenant,
Yeah.
because I guess the question is there any number between what the pilot would be and what full assessment would be, right? That is going to encourage the developer to find a tenant. Because if you assume at the 4th year, just take your second scenario. At the 4th year, instead of paying $100,000 in taxes, I'm now paying $1 million. Okay, full assessment, because I don't have a tenant. Is that $900,000, it's a number, is that $900,000 number enough to get them to get somebody? That's the question.
That doesn't resolve the problem that the building could still lay foul if they don't get a tenant. What happened to the thought and the discussion that we were having once before about they're not entitled to the benefits unless they have a certain percentage of the building occupied before they come to us for the benefits. So if you have a tenant, I mean, it's not unlike, building a residential units. People go out, the developers go out and they get tenants before they build the units. Why can't these warehouse builders go out and get tenants before they build a warehouse? I mean, that seems to be a pretty simple fix for me.
Now, Felix, the problem is, they will tell you, they can't make a deal with a tenant because unless they know what the pilot is, they can't determine what the cost to the tenant will be. That's the problem, because if I'm paying $100,000 in taxes and then I'm charging my tenant $10 a square foot. If I'm paying $1 million in taxes, I'm charging my tenant $20 a square foot, and so the tenant not knowing.
I understand that I understand that dilemma, but Mitch, explain to me how that's different than somebody who wants to build a rental unit and they don't know what to charge their the price, because they don't know what the pilot payment is yet. Why is that a different scenario than building
No,
a
it's
new
the
warehouse?
exact same scenario, because when we do a rental project, we have a pilot before they rent the units, okay? We don't say to them, by the way, you gotta have 100 people ready who have signed up to go into your 100 units before we'll give you a pilot. We give them a pilot, and then we assume they're gonna go out and rent the 100 units. So to some degree, it's the same thing.
But can we say to the builder, this is what we're gonna give you if you do have it rented?
Right,
Don't they
right.
put
Well,
that in?
that's,
They put
Zero
the
pilot,
calculations. If this is what we will give you as the IDA, when you have a tenant, and then they crunch the numbers, okay, if I have it filled, this is what they're gonna give me, it's doable. Rather than vacant buildings the size that they are all over
but
Suffolk County.
that would
it's
have
like,
to be some kind of that would have to, Marty, I'm not all,
Yeah, no, I
but
know
that
you're
would
not.
have to be
Correct.
some kind of document that a developer could, that has in his hand and says,
You should be able
I
to
have this
look.
agreement from Brookhaven,
Yep.
not an oral agreement.
Yep.
You gotta have something in writing,
We don't
so
have
they
an
can take to
agreement.
somebody and say it, this is my deal, are you good?
We've got 5 projects that they can say, look, this is what they did for every other one, ours is the same.
Right.
But are we
This
still?
This is
what
the
we're
numbers they're
doing.
gonna give us.
I got it.
Storage facilities?
What?
Are we still
No, like
trying to
warehouses.
encourage warehouses and storage facilities at this point?
No, we're not
No.
encouraging, definitely,
more
unless they
never
have a
got.
tenant,
We
Right.
never
No,
encouraged
we
storage.
never- We never did.
no,
I didn't mean storage, I meant warehouse.
Warehouse, no,
No.
moratorium till
Right.
December.
yeah, there's
Right,
too
no,
many.
I
of them.
know, but
And we have 5 buildings that they have pilots and don't seem to have a lot
Sucking
of
wind,
this sucker, yeah.
activity.
All right.
sad, it's sad.
That's fine.
If we, along the lines of what we were just discussing, if we were to say, listen, you're not entitled to any benefits if you don't have tenants. If you have X amount of tenants, X amount of percentage of your floor space rented, this is what you're entitled to get. And the board, this is what you will get, not what you're entitled to get. This is what you will get. And if you have more than that rented, this is what you will get as far as abatements go. Rather than just leaving it open-ended and deciding as they come in with their projects and their presentations to decide the level of their benefits.
I've told every attorney that we've had conversations with that this is only for speculative. If you have an end user, bring it in. So, and I've said to them, it doesn't have to be 100%. We'll take them, bring it in. Let's have a conversation.
Case by case, right? I mean,
Yeah, like we do with everything. So,
most of the attorneys probably know that, right?
yeah,
And what was the response, Lisa?
nobody's got end users.
But then that's gotta tell us something, that there isn't end users out there for these large buildings.
I did
And
have
to
a
Populate the
conversation.
town with these big several 100,000 square foot buildings is not in our best interest.
We agree, yeah.
Is there any possibility that any of, I don't know the answer to this question from a development standpoint. Is there any possibility that any of these empty buildings could be modified to meet other needs of the town?
Sure.
And that if that.
Fred's got an idea.
that's-
No, and if
And that's
that
an
would,
incentive.
and if that would happen, we would
Do it.
provide special additional benefits to make that happen?
If they, we've been meeting with the projects that we have so far that are vacant and working with them on anything they bring forward. But we're really trying to
Oh.
help them get
Right.
somebody in there. So we had one recently that came to us and said they might want to make a change. And we said, okay, we'll work with you on the change. We're not putting up roadblocks. And I had an attorney come in and say that there might be a specialized type of warehouse, something that's not readily available here. And I said, even though it's spec, I would bring that forward to my board because it's different than the rest of them. And I think there's a need. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we talked about housing and warehouses. Housing, we have a study that says there is a need for housing. We have a gap in our housing supply. We have two studies for warehouses that say there's not really that much of a need for it. So I think that's one of the differences. We will reach a point where we, years ago, I don't know if you guys remember this, every project I brought forward was an assisted living.
Yeah.
How much could we possibly need? And then one day,
It just,
they just stopped,
Right.
like a light switch went off, and I was like,
Market.
that's the market.
Yeah, market.
It was interesting to
Right.
observe.
Right.
So I think we're gonna reach a point in housing where we don't need more, or we're gonna realize that we need more 100% affordable or senior or some specific subset of it.
Workforce.
And then the deal flow is gonna adjust. It just seems like even though warehouses seem to be fashionable right now, they don't seem like there's a need for them, or something's out of sync with what
Okay,
they've developed.
Like Woodcrest is a great project.
Yes.
I always bring that up because I know
Yeah.
mom writes a check for $1,200 a
Not
month.
our issue, but there's a good article in Newsday today about condo prices.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
Oh,
going
did you
on.
see that?
Yeah.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
My God.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm good.
All right. Unless there's anything else, a motion to adjourn the meeting of the governors. So moved. Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
You know, Woodcrest.
Aye.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Where you gonna put that? Wow.
Yeah.
It is now 10:50. We'll open the meeting of the Town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency. It is Wednesday, August 20th. Following members are present, Mr. Callahan, Polly,
What else?
Rose, Mr. Trotta, Ron, and via Zoom, Mr. Grucci, the quorum is present. First order of business is to approve our minutes of July 16th of this year.
So moved,
Motion,
so moved.
second.
Second,
Are there any corrections or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Lori, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Included in your package is the report budget versus actual year to date through the end of July. Just want to point out some things in the income side. Our income other is the big increase there from year to year, and budget versus actual is we had a big increase in sales tax. So that was big closing for us. Also, as of the end of July, we've had 3 closings this year. And we had 1 in August, so we'll be up to 4. As far as the expense side, just pointing out some differences, the advertising and promotion were over budget, and that's basically the Des Moines study goes in there, so that was a big expense for us. And as far as interest rates, the rates are still holding steady, but we are getting notes from some of the banks, they're dropping them 0.25% here and there, and they probably will go down. We did open up some CDs and lock in our rate for the next year, so if the rates do go down, we're at least have some, backup
What is
there.
the rate?
The rate on the CDs that we opened for over 4. But we're seeing things start 3.5, 3 point, it's creeping down. Any questions on that report? I will, just go through my standard language that all payroll taxes and related withholdings have been paid timely in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All the regulatory reports have been filed, all pilots have been dispersed. Any questions?
Any questions of Lori?
No.
Hearing none, I need a motion to accept our report. So. Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. The first resolution on the agenda is for the Lawrence Aviation Solar Farm. All the information is in your packets. We had a public hearing yesterday, and although there was there were guests, there were no comments. So it's a, do we have a motion for the resolution?
so move.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next item is the Port Jefferson Common LLC project. Again, all the information is in your packets. We had a public hearing yesterday, and there was one comment from the, one of the village trustees. She is also the commissioner of finance.
Yeah.
She just asked that our pilot, sort of be higher than what they're currently getting, and it is. So it was a comment, but when I showed her the pilot, she said, oh, all right, I didn't even have to make that comment. So
There you
that was the
go.
only comment. Do we have a motion for the resolution?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
and this is adjacent to a project that we
We
already
already
had.
did.
Right.
Yes.
How's that project going?
I think it's all right. I don't think the ground floor, which is not ours, the retail is not.
Dance studio.
What's
Yeah,
that?
there's a
The dance
okay.
studio. Yes.
Oh.
My son called me this morning. He lives behind it. He said a dance studio.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, first floor.
they had told me that they
Not part of ours, but.
No, not
that's
part of
okay.
ours. No, but it makes it look better.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a request that we received from Intercounty Appliance. This was, presented to us at the last month's meeting, and all the information is in your packets. Fred and I did a little bit of,
Just to
Or-
before we get
Go
to that, just to refresh. Drew on the.
Yes, you want to
Yes.
bring them in?
Yeah, let him in.
hunt twice.
Did anything change from our last month's meeting to?
Well, maybe a little bit more information.
Okay.
Bill?
I think I'm gonna bring it. If I roll out, she'll do what it is. Ames. Yes. Matt Koch too. Okay, please.
Morning, Drew. Ian?
You're muted.
Give me more interest, give me more interest, yeah, they are.
You Probably just stepped
There
away
he is.
from, oh, there he is. Okay.
I'm here.
Morning, Drew. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
We talked about this last month, but, just a couple other thoughts. I think my numbers are right. This project first came to us. They were projecting 72 jobs. I believe the number that was reported at the end of the year was 96. But the problem here is that they had a lower lease rate. And if it goes to market, which is what it's supposed to do, they may well pick up their pieces and all their business and take it to, I guess it's Burlington, South Jersey.
Where they have a facility.
Existing facility. I'm told that there were 52, again, this is a co-op. There were 52 members in New York alone, forgetting Connecticut, Massachusetts. That in many cases, it's probably more efficient if they actually deliver to some of those New York members, particularly in western part of New York State, coming out of South Jersey. But I still don't understand why, with, as Lisa just said, 5 empty warehouses here. If Intercounty picks up their pieces and goes south, why the landlord would be happy sitting with another empty warehouse? Now, I understand taxes, I think, but there's cash coming in. Why would he want it? So I go back to Drew. But all that said, part of our mission is to create or retain jobs. And Lisa and I have been working pretty hard to come up with something that we think would be acceptable to retain those 96 jobs and keep Intercounty right here in Brookhaven. So Lisa, want to tell them what we came up with?
So in the proposal that we received from the project, they request, so all right, let me just back up for a second. In 23-24, their pilot payment was round numbers 477,000. And then it jumped to 590,000. So what they asked us to do is to go back to 477,000. And then increase over 10 years to 590,000.
That was the ask.
That was the request. And what Fred and I played with was dropping them back to 477,000, but increasing them to 702,000 over a 10-year period, which brings them, obviously I'm estimating, but I think that means that in 2034-35, they would basically be paying what full taxation I project would be in 2030-2031. So they're still behind what they would be paying, if that makes sense.
And
So
it would, and what we came up with, starting with that 477 number, increasing the pilot, again, a 10-year pilot, increasing that pilot by $25,000 a year. 25 is 25, and as I said to Lisa many times, I'm not trying to spend their money. But if you break it down over the number of members they have per month, for me, it's not a lot of money to keep them here, keep
The job.
96 jobs and 96 families.
How did you get to 700,000, whatever that number is, 700?
Hold on, Amos, can we lose one of the Drews?
Drew, I'm still one of you.
All right, one of them, I
Twice.
had a problem with
It's
the,
Joyce.
I couldn't hear it, so let me, hold on, I have it on my cell phone as well. Let me disconnect, from this. Hold on.
Okay,
Go ahead, Drew.
Okay, I'm
but
gonna,
that one's muted.
Unmute.
just unmute Drew whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
Drew,
you
you-
gotta unmute yourself.
Drew, you're muted.
Unmute.
Sorry, are we there? Am I good?
Better. What was your
Oh,
question?
My question was, you were saying in 5 years, go up to 700 and some odd $1,000?
No, in 10 years.
10 years.
Oh, 10 years. Okay, so where did you get the $700,000, which is like 50% more than the taxes at full taxation as of next year?
Oh, it's
Well-
641 right now, isn't it?
Right
No.
now,
No, it's at 500 and 400, 500 and something thousand.
so your pilot for this year, for the year we're currently in, was 590,000. If you had not been in the IDA's name, your taxes for this year would have been just shy of 642,000.
Okay, so right, so then we typically do like 3% increases, right? 3%. Where that seems the difference
Well-
seems to be higher, I don't know.
What our logic was, is if I pushed this out and just said, what would their taxes, starting at $642,000, what would their taxes be in 10 years? Like I said, this is a projection. I don't know what they're gonna be, but
Right.
they came out to roughly $767,000. And then what Fred and I did was we said, well, if we back them into $477,000, we subtract that out over 10 years, it's roughly 25. It really was closer to 29, but we shaved it down. It's roughly $25,000 a year. So we gave $25,000 increases. And that means that in year 10, you are still only at if we go the pilot out 10 years to 2034, 35, you're still less than what I project taxes would be in 2030, 31.
I thought the taxes were gonna come down townwide. You gotta take a 20% reduction.
Yes, I saw
Got a
that.
crystal ball somewhere?
I saw a newspaper article about that somewhere, I don't know. Okay, I get your logic, my math was wrong, okay. I'm doing the math as we speak, so, you know. So we would start at what number? At the
27.
477.
477? And then do a 10-year phase in,
Yep.
Correct.
25%, 25,000 a year.
Yep.
25,000 a year, okay.
Which brings you in year
10.
34, 35 to $702,568.
Got it. Matt, your thoughts?
You're in?
No,
Thank you. I would obviously appreciate any consideration towards this, first of all. That does sound reasonable. I understand the thought process. I'm working the math as you're going over it also. And I mean, 25,000, when you work it against the increases, it's not too far off to your point too, of what it would be under a normal.
Push.
tax. So, yeah, obviously I'll have to run it past my management team and my board, but I think that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
And appreciated.
I would be okay to keep the jobs.
Any questions?
Yeah, and you wouldn't have another 325,000 square foot empty building. Pray,
Well, you
Praise
think
God.
so, Joe. You never know. You never know. But I would be up to that. So I don't know the rest of the board, but
I'm comfortable with that.
Is there a motion then?
I'd make that much.
yep.
Is
So
there a
moved.
second?
Yes.
Frank, I'm second, Frank,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Any further questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Thank you.
thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Yeah.
I
you.
appreciate the consideration.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you and I'll leave you to your business.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
The
Good
next,
plan of action, guys.
Yeah.
We
Well,
tried.
no, I'm, you know,
well, there was like spreadsheets, I had to tape them
yeah,
together.
no, I'm just saying, they crunch the numbers and keep the jobs. I mean,
96 families.
And just keep those jobs, keep that building full.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But whoever the landlord is, he might, you know, I mean, really, you're gonna kick an existing tenant out who's paying to,
Just as a landmark plan, okay.
you know, I understand, but he would have an empty building.
Yeah, you would.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. The next item on the agenda
Good
is
work.
the FSA. Thank you. I have to tell you, you guys, I'm going along, I'm doing everything in Excel, and this guy next to me is like, it's gonna be 700,000, and I'm like, 700,000, and then I'm doing the math, and he's like, it's gonna be about just shy of 30,000. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Sometimes it works.
A calculator in his brain. I do that. So the next item on the agenda is the FSA HRA. We went back to the proposal, got more information from them, and basically the cost to the agency annually to offer these benefits is $800 a year. There is a one-time
So fee.
setup fee of $400, but it's a one-time. I didn't include that in the 800. It's $800 a year plus whatever annual
Stipend.
pool, pot, whatever you want to call it, you
Yep.
put together per employee. So that's a cap. The last meeting, there was a proposal for 5,000 per person. So that means if everyone uses the full amount of the allocation annually, it will cost the agency $20,800.
So we're talking about $20,000, maybe 25 max. For programs that they don't now have.
So,
Had we been, we collectively, still part of the town, this program by itself wasn't available to the town. However, the town had other programs that were available, we're giving them close to the same thing.
dental
And I
insurance.
remind everybody that we've been on our own since
Yeah.
2020 and 2021.
Late 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
January
Yes.
2020, and it's
Okay.
cost us. We're probably pushing $1.5 million. In additional expenses since we've been on our own.
Computers. Phones, computers, all the.
We're holding our
All the
own.
expenses.
We're holding our own.
Well, I think this is a good thing for the employees.
Need a motion?
Motion to that point.
So move.
Second,
Second,
questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
you.
The next
Dessert.
item on the agenda is the community development CDLI annual lunch sponsorship. Last year, we sponsored to the $3,000 level, which gave us 3 tickets. They have all kinds of different options. I think what we did last year was we decided how many tickets people were interested in and kind of let that guide us. It is Tuesday, October 7th at the Crest Hollow from 12 to 2:30 p.m. They are honoring Salvador Coco from BHC Architects and Health and Welfare Council of Long Island, which is the awards being accepted by Vanessa Baird Streeter. She's the president and CEO. So
What did we do last year?
$3,000, which gave us 3 tickets.
I think we should leave it the same as last year, whoever wants to go, then we purchase the tickets.
Do we have 3 interested in tickets?
I know I cannot go. I cannot.
No, I
go.
cannot.
I would go if somebody else is gonna go.
Jargon, annual meetings, which will be very interesting.
Yes.
Was there a motion for the 3,000? figure out the tickets
Yeah,
later.
there you go, that's how.
And we find
Yeah,
more
yeah,
tickets
correct.
if we have more than.
Yeah,
three
correct.
Interested.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All right, on the vote, Mr. Callahan, yes?
Yes.
Mitch?
Yes. Do I need to recuse myself?
think-
or-
As
'cause
long
of-
as we have the votes, probably yes.
Okay, then I'll recuse myself.
John,
Yes.
Felix,
Yes,
Frank,
yes,
and I'll recuse myself.
All right, so we're good.
Abstain, rather.
Fine,
So we're good.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The last thing, it's not on the agenda. Does anybody have interest in the housing studies, a printed version? We looked into having them printed, or professionally printed, if anybody was interested in them.
I would, be.
I would be.
I would.
Yeah, I think we spent enough money, it's professional.
Yeah,
I agree.
I know Fred was interested in it. I know my inclination would not be to go to the wall I would look online, but
Yeah, I
We-
go online.
we'll
You're young
get
for
a-
this,
some of
right?
us can't do that past. the page.
Yeah, no, I'm I'm paperless.
so we'll print some copies and anybody who's interested in them.
Fine.
we will,
Howard, anything from your end? Andrew? Andrew, you're muted.
Sorry, I was
You're
on mute. No, nothing on my end. Thanks for asking.
Barry? Anything else from the board? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor?
I.
I.
Mitch, we got